In this episode, I'm going to show you a 3-ring mulching method to show where your plant actually feeds and why you might actually be harming your plants. Welcome to Garden Logic TV, where we grow smarter every day. The number one most common mistake people make is they put fertilizer in the base of the tree here. That actually can harm it because it damages the trunk and then damages the taproot. Another thing is you're wasting your fertilizer because these are not feeder roots anymore. They become structure. They transport nutrients and they transport water. The feeder roots are actually way out here in line with the canopy. You can see the tip of the leaf here is where the feeder roots are located. So what you see above ground is also what's happening below ground. So instead of putting fertilizer at the base of the tree, it's better to just put your grasses and weeds and leaves. These were green, but they've dried out. That provides it with nitrogen, supports leaf growth, and it slowly breaks down into carbon, which creates the trunk and branches and roots. The main thing here, though, isn't for nutrient absorption. You're mostly just covering the soil, protecting that sensitive taproot, and increasing soil life and insects. So the inner, you want to put grasses and weeds and leaves because it doesn't harm the tree. If you put a lot and you put it directly on the base, it could do a little bit of damage, but it's not nearly as much as the actual fertilizer that I put out here. And as for the middle ring here, I personally use banana mulch. It's very high in potassium. It is nutrient dense, but it doesn't really burn the roots as badly because it's mostly water weight and it doesn't really create like a burn damage or anaerobic conditions like the other compost I'm using here. So it's okay to put it in a middle ring because it still gives nutrients and it still feeds the insects and the underground microbes without actually harming the trunk here. If you don't have banana mulch, it's okay. There's actually something else you can use. You can use homemade compost. I'll get more into that later. This is just what I use because it is high in potassium, which is what the guava fruit really enjoy. These are very potassium rich fruit. So this third outer ring, this is where the actual feeding happens. Like I said, it's in line with the canopy of the fruiting tree. What I'm using is a black soldier fly larva food compost fertilizer. You do not have to use this specifically. You can actually buy an electric food composter. You put it in your kitchen. You put all your food scraps and it'll powderize it. You can use that instead for your third ring. I personally just enjoy to use the black soldier fly larva instead. So as this breaks down, it's going to add a ton of nutrients directly to the feeder roots. It'll also attract some insects. The insects will eat it. They'll poop, create frass. They'll tunnel down to avoid the heat. They'll come back up to feed again, creating more air pockets and loosening the soil that's underground. And that actually helps the roots to spread out when the soil is more loose. But the craziest thing about doing this 3-ring method is the fact that there's a lot of nutrients here. What happens is the fungi, the underground fungi that's connected with the roots of the tree, they have a mycorrhizal relationship. The fungi have a really cool thing. They can create like a web and they can like sense where the nutrients are. They find the nutrients and then they all go towards it. So by putting the compost in the outer ring like this, you're training the fungi to go out and get these nutrients. The tree have a mycorrhizal relationship with the fungi and it actually follows the fungi. So it actually encourages the tree to root further out. So that's like the most amazing part of all of this. So here's another fruit tree where I've applied the 3-ring mulching method here with the food compost fertilizer on the outside, banana mulch on the middle, and then grass clippings and weeds on the inner. This one's a little bit different because I can't actually follow the canopy of this tree. So because I've pruned it so many times. So I don't really know where the canopy is. And it's not really a big deal as long as the fertilizer isn't directly on the base here. It's safe. It's fine. Actually, right now is the best time to apply fertilizer. And I'm assuming that the feeder roots are somewhere out here. Because I just recently pruned this in a previous episode. And what that does by pruning the mulberry tree specifically is it encourages new branches. And on that new branch growth, there's a lot of fruit. So I know that this is about to have a lot of fruit. So this is the perfect time to fertilize it. After you do your pruning, go ahead and fertilize in that outer ring. And as well as the banana plant, you can't follow the canopy with the banana plant either to determine where the feeder roots are. The reason why is this is not an actual tree. This is a shrub. And so unlike fruit trees where the canopy lines up with the feeder roots, shrubs don't follow that at all. So what I've done here is I've determined the base of the banana clusters here, and I just measured 2 feet out. And that's where the feeder roots are for the banana plant. And instead of doing a 3-ring system, I've only put banana mulch and food compost fertilizer only instead of grass clippings and weeds. Because like I said, this is not a tree. It does use a bit of nitrogen. It does use a bit of carbon, but not as much as a full tree. So I will come out here and do grass clippings as needed. But the main best mulch for the banana plant is its own banana mulch and the food compost fertilizer. Now, because banana plants are very bacterial rich and they're very heavy feeders and they love fast release fertilizer, I applied more food compost fertilizer for the banana plant. But it's gonna make more fruit, bigger fruit. These are all gonna just grow much faster. You get more fruit over many years to come. Now, as for my jackfruit tree, I didn't do the 3-ring system, but I still mulched it all the way out to the canopy. The reason why is this is still a young tree. It's not mature enough to fruit yet. And the jackfruit specifically gets a lot of carbon to make this thick trunk. This tree, I actually grew it from seed. It's only like a little over a year old, actually. It's still a very young tree. But that's the cool thing about jackfruit is it grows very quickly. It grows a very thick trunk like this. And like I said earlier, what happens above ground for fruit trees is also what you see below ground. So it also creates a very deep taproot. So by putting a lot of grass and weeds, what that's going to do is give it all the nitrogen it needs for its leaves as well as a ton of carbon to support the trunk, the branches, and the roots. The jackfruit tree, it fruits about 3 to 5 years of age. I'm assuming this would be more around the 3 years because I'm always mulching it and taking care of this tree. The way how the tree grows is it grows in stages. Right now it's in a stage of creating structure and preparing itself to grow the biggest fruits in the world, sometimes 20 to 25 kilos. And the only thing I can do for this tree right now is to give all the carbon and nitrogen it needs, just using grass clippings and weeds and leaves like that. Now, as for my calamansi tree, this is a citrus lime that's native here in the Philippines. You can see there's a lot of flowering. There's a lot of fruiting happening. However, the only reason why this tree is fruiting is because this is already a mature tree because it was grafted. We got this from a nursery. It's already grafted. So because the tree is old enough, it's a clone from the mother, it's old enough, it thinks it's ready for fruits. It's actually not ready for fruiting, to be honest. And I don't want to really encourage it to fruit and put all this energy into fruits. So for this calamansi, I'm only using grass clippings only, just to encourage it to grow more, build more structure, build wider roots, and more leaves. And then once it's older, maybe after 3 years, then I'll actually start feeding it more banana mulch and food compost fertilizer. Now, earlier in this episode, I told you for the middle ring, you don't have to use banana mulch, you can actually use compost. This works just as well as the banana mulch. It might even be better than the banana mulch. Because the banana is mostly just providing like potassium, whereas this provides more nutrients as well. What you want to do is just pile all your compost, all your branches, your grass, your weeds in a pile and turn it over every month. And what happens is the humus collects at the bottom. You just collect that humus, just collect it and use that in your middle ring. It's already broken down, so it's not going to harm your trunk, it's not going to harm your taproot, but it provides it with a ton of nutrients. So the reason why I didn't actually use compost is because I have another use for this, where I can grow a lot of sweet potatoes in containers and hang them up on my gate so it doesn't take up much space at all. And I'm going to save that for the next episode. So if you want to see how to grow a lot of sweet potatoes in a small space by hanging it using your compost. So if you want to see the next episode, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss it. Thank you for watching Garden Logic TV, where we grow smarter every day.